There are moments in life when you feel a hidden weight pressing on your soul, a burden that does not come from today, nor even from the choices you remember making. It is as if you are carrying an invisible debt, a karmic imprint, passed down through memory, through wounds that are not always yours. Carl Jung, the great psychologist of the unconscious, revealed something powerful. Karma is not a punishment, it is memory. It is the residue of what has not yet been healed, seen, or integrated. And here lies the key: when that memory has been faced, embraced, and released, your karmic debt begins to dissolve. But how do you know when this has happened? How do you recognize that you are no longer trapped in the same loops, repeating the same lessons, suffering the same losses in different disguises? In this journey, I will guide you through 4 unmistakable signs that your karmic debt has been cleared, using Jung's profound vision to uncover the hidden language of your soul. These signs are not abstract. They appear in your body, in your relationships, in your thoughts, and in the peace that grows within you when the old chains fall away. And here is where it becomes truly life-changing. Clearing karmic debt is not about perfection, nor about earning forgiveness from the universe. It is about wholeness. When you bring the unconscious into light, you are no longer ruled by it. Jung said it best: until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Today you are invited to see beyond fate, beyond repetition, and into freedom. Stay with me until the end, because what you will hear has the power to shift how you see your past and future forever. And before we begin unfolding the first sign, let me invite you to subscribe to this channel, share this video, and leave your reflections in the comments. Together we are building a space of healing, psychology, and spirituality where stories transform lives. Now let us begin with the first steps into Jung's vision of karma, and how to recognize the moment when your invisible debt is no more. To understand the first sign, we must go deeper into what Jung meant by karma. For him, karma was never about a cosmic scoreboard where every action is judged as good or bad. Instead, karma is memory stored in the unconscious, emotional memory, ancestral memory, even collective memory passed through generations. Think of it as invisible blueprints shaping your reactions, relationships, and choices. Perhaps you've wondered why the same type of situation keeps reappearing in your life. You meet different people, change environments, even shift your goals, and yet somehow the same kind of betrayal, rejection, or disappointment finds you. This is not coincidence. It is the unconscious replaying an old story until you finally see it clearly. Jung believed we inherit more than physical features from our families. We inherit fears, unfinished emotions, and unresolved wounds. These live in what he called the collective storehouse of the unconscious. When left unseen, they create karmic loops, patterns that keep you trapped in repeated experiences. They are not punishments. They are mirrors. The first sign your karmic debt is being cleared is when those repeating patterns begin to dissolve. Life no longer feels like a song stuck on the same chorus. Instead, you notice the shift. You see the warning signs earlier. Your body reacts differently, a knot in the stomach, a heaviness in the chest, but instead of ignoring them, you pause. You breathe. And for the first time, you choose differently. This is not willpower. This is transformation. It means the old version of you, the one tied to the loop, has evolved. The unconscious has been brought into the light, and the fate you once suffered no longer rules you. Breaking the cycle is not about denying the past but integrating it. When you can face the mirror of karma without fear, the reflection changes. You are no longer trapped in repetition. You are free to step into a new story. Breaking free from repetition leads us to the second sign, the arrival of inner peace that does not depend on circumstances. When karmic debt is still active, the inner world feels like a battlefield. Fear pulls on one side, guilt on another, attachment and defensiveness pulling you apart. Even in moments of joy, there is tension beneath the surface, as if you are waiting for the next crisis. But when a karmic loop dissolves, something profound emerges, a quiet peace. It is not dramatic, not loud. Feels like taking a deep breath after years of holding it in. Imagine sitting with a warm cup of tea, watching the sky shift its colors, and realizing you are not tense anymore. You are not scanning the horizon for danger. You are simply here, present. Carl Jung taught that the soul seeks wholeness, not perfection. Wholeness means nothing inside you is denied or rejected. The parts of you once hidden in shadow are now seen and embraced. And when this happens, the waves of inner conflict settle, like a storm fading into calm waters. Challenges will still come. Life does not suddenly become flawless. But the difference is in how you experience them. You no longer interpret difficulties as punishment. You no longer attach your worth to what you lose. Instead, you face them with a clear center, with calmness and resilience. The most powerful part of this piece is that you don't need to prove it. You don't announce, "I am strong now." You don't seek validation. It simply exists. You feel whole, steady, and present. And this inner peace becomes the soil where new blessings naturally grow. From this foundation you stop chasing, struggling, or overcompensating. Instead, life begins to give back to you, without resistance. Before moving to the third sign, let me pause to invite you. If these words are resonating, subscribe to this channel, leave your reflections in the comments, and share this video so more people can find the healing they need. Your engagement not only supports this space but also creates a ripple of transformation for others seeking freedom from karmic cycles. The third sign that your karmic debt has been cleared is the ability to receive without struggle. For much of life, receiving can feel unnatural, almost uncomfortable. Perhaps you've been conditioned to believe you must work endlessly, prove yourself, or even suffer before you are worthy of something good. This belief is the voice of unresolved karma, whispering that joy, love, and abundance must always come at a cost. But when those karmic patterns dissolve, something shifts. You notice that blessings arrive without the tension of suspicion or the weight of guilt. You stop questioning, "Why me? Do I deserve this?" Instead, you accept with quiet gratitude, knowing that worthiness has always been your birthright. Carl Jung explained that the unconscious quietly draws the blueprint of our lives. If old wounds remain unhealed, the unconscious will continue to project them into external experiences, attracting relationships and opportunities that echo past pain. This is why many people repeat toxic patterns, not because they want to, but because part of them unconsciously believes that is all they deserve. When karmic energy is cleared, the projection ends. Suddenly, you no longer find yourself entangled in relationships that drain you, nor do you sabotage opportunities out of fear. You step into alignment. Life begins to flow and receiving becomes natural. Receiving without struggle does not mean you stop acting or stop working toward your goals. It means you act from clarity rather than fear, from wholeness rather than lack. You give because it feels genuine, not because you hope it will make you lovable. And when life responds with goodness, you no longer push it away. This moment of ease is not laziness, it is grace. It is the natural rhythm of a soul no longer carrying debts. You find yourself swimming with the current rather than against it, and in that flow your days feel lighter, brighter, and deeply aligned with who you truly are. The fourth sign that your karmic debt has been cleared is the discovery of purpose beyond survival. When karmic loops are still active, much of life is consumed by fear and scarcity. Your choices revolve around protection. Protecting yourself from loss, from rejection, from repeating the same wounds. Even your goals can carry the hidden energy of fear, striving to prove your worth, to silence doubt, or to avoid loneliness. But when the old cycles dissolve, something extraordinary awakens. Instead of asking, "How do I survive?" you begin to ask, "Why am I here? What am I meant to create, to give, to live for?" This shift marks the entrance into a new stage of consciousness. The weight of survival lessens and the pull of purpose becomes stronger. Carl Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Purpose is not a heavy demand or a frantic race to find a mission. It arises like a gentle compass pointing you toward what makes your heart come alive. It may be the desire to teach, to create, to heal, or to inspire, but whatever form it takes, it feels like alignment, not pressure. This is not about abandoning responsibilities or ignoring daily life. It is about living with a deeper center, where each action flows from meaning rather than fear. You stop wearing masks to fit in. You stop chasing roles to fill a void. Instead, you choose with authenticity, even if it means walking against the current of society. When karmic debt has been cleared, the question is no longer, "How do I avoid pain?" but, "What do I want to leave behind?" You think not only of your comfort but of your legacy. Your story transforms from one of cycles and wounds to one of creation and contribution. This sign does not shout loudly, it whispers with steadiness. It is the fire of purpose, guiding you to live as your truest self, and that fire lights a path filled with freedom, depth, and lasting fulfillment. After stepping into purpose, another transformation unfolds. You begin to notice how light your spirit feels. The absence of karmic debt is not just an idea, it is something you sense in your body, in your energy, in the way you walk into a room. For years, unresolved karma can weigh you down with fatigue, tightness, or a constant undercurrent of anxiety. It feels as though you are dragging invisible chains. But when those chains break, the difference is undeniable. You feel lighter, more present, more alive. Even your physical body reflects it. Your breath deepens, your shoulders relax, your eyes shine with clarity. This is not because life has become perfect, but because your inner world is no longer burdened by hidden battles. Carl Jung believed that when the unconscious is made conscious, its energy is released. Instead of being trapped in loops of fear or shame, that energy is now available for creativity, connection, and joy. You begin to reclaim all the vitality that was once consumed by old wounds. This lightness also shows in your relationships. You no longer approach others with unspoken demands or hidden fears. Instead, you meet people as they are, not as stand-ins for old wounds. This allows for deeper connections, built on authenticity rather than projection. It also shows in how you relate to yourself. Where you once judged harshly, you now offer compassion. Where you once forced yourself, you now allow flow. Where you once doubted, you now trust. This sense of freedom does not mean you never face challenges again. What changes is your response. Instead of shrinking under the weight, you adapt with resilience. Instead of being consumed by fear, you remain centered. This shift in energy marks one of the clearest confirmations. The karmic debt is gone. Freedom, then, is not just a concept. It is the lived experience of walking without invisible chains, standing tall in the lightness of your own soul. One of the most beautiful confirmations that karmic debt has been cleared is the awakening of gratitude, not as a forced practice, but as a natural state of being. When you are trapped in karmic cycles, gratitude often feels distant. The mind is too busy fighting, comparing, or protecting itself. Even when blessings appear, they are clouded by suspicion or fear of losing them. But when karma dissolves, gratitude flows spontaneously. You begin to notice the small details, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the laughter of a friend, the quiet comfort of being at peace with yourself. Nothing is too small to feel sacred. This shift is not superficial positivity, it is the deep recognition that life itself is a gift. Carl Jung explained that integration brings wholeness, and wholeness brings presence. When nothing inside you is being denied, you can finally rest in the moment. This presence naturally blossoms into gratitude, because you see clearly how much has already been given. Gratitude also changes how you interpret challenges. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What can I learn from this? What strength is being revealed within me?" Even pain becomes a teacher rather than a punishment. This perspective makes you magnetic. People feel drawn to someone who radiates calm appreciation instead of scarcity and fear. Opportunities come easier, relationships deepen, and life feels more aligned. But the greatest transformation is inward. Gratitude reshapes your nervous system, quiets old anxieties, and creates resilience. You no longer need constant external validation to feel safe. Instead, your inner world itself becomes the source of peace. If these words resonate with you, take a moment now to subscribe, share this message, and leave a comment about what gratitude has taught you in your own life. Your reflection could inspire someone else who is still carrying invisible burdens, showing them that lightness and healing are possible. As gratitude deepens, another powerful transformation unfolds: forgiveness. This is not about excusing harmful actions or pretending wounds never happened. True forgiveness is the release of the hold those memories once had over you. It is the moment when the past no longer dictates your emotions, your choices, or your future. When karmic debt is still active, old pain keeps echoing. You replay conversations, remember betrayals, and feel anger toward those who hurt you. But in truth, the wound is not just about them, it is about the part of you that stayed trapped in that memory. Jung emphasized that what we do not make conscious will continue to control us. This includes resentment, which binds us to the very pain we want to escape. When forgiveness arrives, it is not forced. It feels like a natural exhale, as if the heart has grown too tired to carry that weight any longer. You stop needing revenge or validation. You stop waiting for apologies. You understand that your freedom matters more than holding on to old chains. This does not mean you invite toxic people back into your life. Boundaries remain and wisdom guides you. What changes is that you no longer carry them inside your mind. They no longer rent space in your soul. Forgiveness also extends inward. You release the guilt for choices made when you didn't know better. You embrace the younger version of yourself who was only trying to survive. Compassion replaces self-condemnation, and that shift allows deep healing. This act of forgiveness signals that karmic cycles have closed. The mirror has served its purpose, and now you are free to move forward unburdened. It is not about erasing the past, it is about transforming it into wisdom. In this freedom, you finally understand, forgiveness is not a gift you give to others. It is the gift you give to yourself, the key that unlocks the prison door and allows you to walk into the light. After forgiveness, another subtle but undeniable sign appears: synchronicity. Jung coined this term to describe meaningful coincidences that cannot be explained by chance alone. These are the moments when life seems to whisper directly to you, aligning events, people, and opportunities in ways that feel almost miraculous. When karmic debt is active, synchronicity feels blocked. You may experience constant obstacles, closed doors, or frustrating detours. It seems as though life is working against you, pulling you back into the same lessons. But once those lessons have been integrated, the resistance fades and synchronicity flows freely. Imagine thinking about someone and they suddenly call. Or stumbling upon a book that contains the exact words you needed to hear. Or meeting a stranger whose story mirrors your own, reminding you that you are not alone. These moments are not random. They are signals that you are moving in alignment with your soul. Synchronicity does not mean life becomes perfect. It means you are attuned to the deeper rhythm of existence. The outer world begins to reflect your inner clarity. Opportunities feel guided. Relationships appear at the right time. Even challenges arrive with a sense of purpose, offering lessons that feel meaningful rather than punishing. This is not magic in the superficial sense. It is resonance. When your unconscious is no longer cluttered with unresolved wounds, your energy aligns with your truth. You stop broadcasting fear and scarcity, and instead project openness and authenticity. The universe responds in kind. Jung believed that synchronicity is proof that psyche and matter are connected, two aspects of the same whole. When karmic debt has been cleared, you experience this connection more vividly. Life becomes less about struggle and more about flow. This flow is a powerful confirmation. You are not merely surviving or wandering aimlessly. You are aligned with a deeper order, a rhythm that guides you toward growth, love, and purpose. Synchronicity is the universe's way of saying, yes, you are on the right path. As synchronicity increases, you begin to notice another profound sign. Your relationships transform. When karmic debt is unresolved, relationships often feel heavy, repetitive, or painful. You may find yourself drawn to people who echo old wounds, partners who abandon, friends who betray, or connections that drain you. These dynamics are not coincidences. They are mirrors of the unresolved unconscious. But once the karmic weight is lifted, the quality of your relationships changes. You no longer feel compelled to chase those who cannot value you, nor do you tolerate environments that diminish your worth. Instead, you attract relationships rooted in authenticity, respect, and genuine connection. This is not about perfection. Conflicts may still arise, but they are no longer destructive. They become spaces for growth rather than reenactments of old pain. You listen with empathy, speak with honesty, and walk away when necessary without resentment. Your relationships stop being arenas of survival and become spaces of healing and expansion. Jung believed that relationships are sacred mirrors of the soul. They reveal what we have yet to integrate, but once those parts of us are embraced, the mirror reflects wholeness instead of wounds. That is why new relationships feel lighter, more aligned, and more nourishing when karmic debt has been cleared. Even your relationship with yourself transforms. The inner critic softens. The constant comparisons fade. Instead of seeking external approval, you begin to feel secure in your own skin. Self-acceptance becomes the foundation from which all other connections grow. This transformation radiates outward. People sense your energy, calmer, clearer, more authentic, and they respond differently. Where once you may have attracted drama or conflict, now you draw harmony and respect. The change in your relationships is not just evidence of growth. It is a living testimony that karmic cycles have ended. You are no longer bound to repeat old stories. Instead, you are free to write new ones, guided by love, integrity, and truth. Another unmistakable sign that karmic debt has been cleared is the rise of creativity and inspiration. When you are trapped in loops of unresolved karma, your energy is drained by survival. The mind circles endlessly around problems, replaying fears and doubts, leaving little space for imagination. Inspiration feels distant, as if life is only about getting through the day. But once the burden dissolves, creativity flows like water released from a dam. You begin to sense new ideas, new possibilities, and fresh visions for your life. This creativity does not always appear in art or writing. Though it may, it shows up in how you solve problems, in how you approach relationships, in the way you dream about the future. Carl Jung spoke of the active imagination, a process where the unconscious communicates through images, symbols, and visions. When karma is unresolved, those symbols are often shadowed by fear. But once integration occurs, the unconscious becomes an ally, offering wisdom and inspiration. You find yourself daydreaming not about past wounds, but about new possibilities. This creativity is not forced. It feels natural, like a spark that reignites something long forgotten. You might feel called to paint, write, build, or create music. Or you may feel drawn to invent new ways of working, healing, or connecting with others. The form is less important than the feeling. A sense of vitality and freedom flowing through you. And the beauty of this creativity is that it does not depend on external approval. You are no longer creating to prove yourself or to seek validation. You create because it feels alive within you. This is a sure sign that the energy once tied to old cycles is now available for new growth. When karmic debt is cleared, life is no longer just about endurance. It becomes about expression, contribution, and joy. Creativity is the soul's celebration of freedom. Flowing from creativity is another sign, clarity of direction. When karmic cycles are active, confusion dominates. You second-guess every choice, question every path, and feel as though the ground beneath you is unstable. This uncertainty arises because old patterns are still influencing your decisions, pulling you back toward fear and avoidance. But when those patterns dissolve, clarity emerges. You begin to feel aligned with a deeper compass. Decisions that once felt overwhelming now flow with ease. You may not know every detail of the road ahead, but you trust the direction. This trust is not blind. It is grounded in the wholeness you now carry within. Jung often said that the unconscious guides us through symbols and intuition. When karma is unresolved, that guidance is clouded. But once the debt is released, intuition sharpens. You sense when to move forward and when to pause. You recognize doors opening without fear of them closing again. Clarity also means you no longer feel the need to copy others. You are not chasing external definitions of success. Instead, you begin to define success on your own terms. Whether it is a career, a relationship, or a spiritual path, you choose not from pressure but from authenticity. And this clarity gives rise to courage. You may take steps that once felt impossible, leaving toxic environments, beginning a new chapter, or following a long-suppressed dream. Fear may still whisper, but it no longer controls you. If these words resonate, take a moment to subscribe to this channel, share this video, and comment on what clarity means to you right now. Your voice might encourage someone else who is still walking through confusion, showing them that clarity is possible when karmic debt is lifted. The 13th sign is resilience. Resilience does not mean you never feel pain again. It means you no longer collapse under its weight. When karma is unresolved, every challenge feels like a repetition of old wounds, magnified by fear and guilt. You carry the weight of past failures into each new obstacle, making it harder to rise. But once karmic cycles are cleared, challenges lose that crushing power. You face difficulties as they are, not as echoes of the past. A setback becomes a lesson rather than a sentence. A loss becomes an opening for renewal rather than proof of unworthiness. This resilience is visible in the way you recover. Where before you may have spiraled for months or years, now you return to balance more quickly. You trust that pain is temporary, that storms always pass, and that your center cannot be broken. Carl Jung emphasized that individuation, becoming whole, gives us the strength to face life as it is. Resilience is proof of this wholeness. It shows you have integrated the shadow, faced your wounds, and reclaimed your inner power. Resilience also changes how others perceive you. They sense your steadiness, your calm in the midst of chaos. You become a source of inspiration not because you never fall, but because you rise again and again with wisdom. This resilience is not cold or detached. It is warm, compassionate, and deeply human. You carry scars, but they are no longer chains. They are reminders of strength, evidence of a soul that has walked through darkness and chosen light. To be resilient is to live with the quiet confidence that no matter what life brings, you will remain whole. And that is one of the clearest signs that karmic debt has been released. The 14th sign is the birth of compassion, not only toward others but toward yourself. When karmic debt is unresolved, compassion is often blocked. You may judge yourself harshly, resent others, or feel trapped in cycles of comparison. But once the debt dissolves, compassion flows naturally. You begin to see others not as enemies or obstacles, but as fellow travelers carrying their own invisible burdens. You recognize that everyone acts from the level of awareness they have reached, and that judgment only prolongs suffering. This does not mean you excuse harmful behavior, but you understand its roots and choose not to let it poison your heart. Compassion also extends inward. You stop punishing yourself for mistakes, stop replaying regrets as if they define you. Instead, you embrace every version of yourself. The wounded child, the struggling adult, the seeker who stumbled. All are welcomed into your wholeness. Jung taught that healing the shadow requires honesty and love. Compassion is the final proof that this work has been done. It means you have stopped rejecting parts of yourself and started embracing them. This compassion radiates outward. People feel safe in your presence because you no longer project judgment or hostility. You listen more deeply. You forgive more easily. And you love more freely. If this message touches you, remember to subscribe, comment your reflections, and share this video so that compassion can ripple outward, touching more lives. Your participation helps create a community where healing and growth are not solitary paths, but shared journeys. With compassion, the journey of karmic freedom reaches its most tender expression, the heart, unburdened, open, and alive. Beyond compassion comes one more sign: integration. This is the quiet but powerful realization that you no longer divide yourself into fragments of good and bad, acceptable and unacceptable. Instead, you embrace the fullness of who you are. Integration is the essence of Jung's individuation, the process of becoming whole. When karmic debt is active, there is constant inner conflict. Part of you tries to hide what you dislike, while another part strives to overperform to feel worthy. The result is exhaustion. But once karma has been cleared, the battle ends. You stop hiding from your own shadow because you have already walked through it. You stop fearing your wounds because they have become wisdom. This integration is not about perfection. It is about honesty. You can admit your flaws without shame, celebrate your strengths without arrogance, and rest in the balance between the two. Life feels less like a performance and more like authenticity. Integration also brings a sense of continuity. The different chapters of your life, even the painful ones, no longer feel disconnected or wasted. You see how every experience shaped you, how every challenge prepared you, and how every mistake carried lessons that now serve your growth. Nothing is lost. Everything is woven into the tapestry of your story. From this place, you begin to live with a new level of authenticity. You speak with honesty because you are no longer afraid of rejection. You live with courage because you no longer fear failure. You move with trust because you know that even if storms come, your center is whole. Integration is the final fruit of karmic freedom. It is the quiet confidence of someone who has looked at every part of themselves and said, "You belong." This wholeness radiates peace, wisdom, and love, the true signs of a soul no longer bound by old debts. As the journey reaches its conclusion, the final sign emerges: freedom itself. Freedom is not merely the absence of pain or the closing of a karmic loop. It is the living experience of choice, clarity, and alignment. You no longer feel chained to the past, nor terrified of the future. Instead, you stand firmly in the present, unburdened, whole, and awake. This freedom is subtle yet profound. It shows up in the way you walk into each day without dread. It's in the way you laugh without fear of losing joy, and in the way you love without guarding your heart with iron walls. Freedom means you trust the rhythm of life, its highs and its lows, knowing that nothing has the power to destroy your center. Jung described karma as a mirror, reflecting what was still hidden within. Once every reflection has been faced, understood, and integrated, the mirror dissolves. What remains is you, not a fractured version but your true self. This is the essence of karmic freedom. No longer living in reaction but in creation. Freedom also means you no longer live as if you are paying off a debt. You live as if you are writing a story. Each choice becomes intentional. Each moment becomes sacred. Each breath becomes a declaration: I am whole. This is not the end of your journey but a beginning. With karmic debt cleared, you step into a new chapter, one not defined by wounds but by purpose, compassion, and light. You become living proof that healing is possible, that karma is not punishment but a path to wisdom, and that the soul's destiny is not endless repetition but liberation. If this message has touched you, remember to subscribe, comment your reflections, and share this video with others who may need hope. Your presence here is not an accident, it is part of your unfolding freedom. May you walk forward knowing that the debt is gone, the mirror has vanished, and what remains is the brilliance of your true self, shining without shadow.